Welcome to the Arcanists Guild. It is here that we research and develop the field of arcanima. Arcanima is the science of employing arcane geometries, intricate patterns that map the unlocked mysteries of existence, to draw forth and manipulate the body's etheric energies. If you prefer an arcane art built on structured thought and precise reasoning, then your discerning intellect may find a home here at our guild. Might you consider enrolling yourself as an initiate? Aha, just as I predicted. Before we proceed any further, however, let us first feed your appetite for knowledge with a morsel of guild history. The roots of arcanima can be traced back to the esoteric calculations practiced by the people of the South Sea Isles. It was these island folk that first discovered a method to express natural phenomena in mathematical terms. Building on this process, the existing mathematical formulae were further developed into arcane geometries, precise patterns that allowed a practitioner to weave ether into specific magical effects. The mages who invoked this new form of magic became known as Arcanists, and the school of Arcanima was born. Many such mages, wishing to expand their understanding of the world, took to the seas aboard trading vessels. Upon their arrival in Limsa Lominsa, Arcanists found themselves welcomed into the academic elite, and soon secured positions in the realms of governance and council. The knowledge of an Arcanist, however, is traditionally passed on from master to chosen disciple. As such, Admiral Merlewibe, counting several wielders of arcanima among her personal staff, became concerned that this exclusionary practice would lead to the eventual extinction of the art. So, at the Admiral's express orders, an official Arcanists Guild was established, and funding was provided for research and training. The complex and demanding nature of arcanima, however, remains the greatest threat to its own future. If you invite such cerebral challenges, then you have but to reaffirm your commitment to joining our guild. Well, have you decided to enroll in our guild? Or are you now intimidated by the thought of excessive thinking? Your sound judgment is to be commended. Now, standard practice dictates that I introduce you to our guildmaster that you might convey your intentions in person. Due to extraordinary circumstances, however, he is unreachable at present. Instead, you may speak with Mistress Thubyrgeim. She has shouldered full responsibility for the guild's leadership in the interim. You will find her just over there, by the bookshelves. You needn't be shy, though her mind is sharp and critical, her manner is always most welcoming. Yes, I am Thubyrgeim. Greetings, and welcome to the Arcanists Guild. As Muri has doubtlessly explained, I am serving as acting guildmaster until our wayward leader deigns to return. I assume our capable receptionist also spoke of our art's origins? Allow me, then, to expound upon its nature. Arcanima taps into the living energies of ether. The evidence of this is represented most aptly, perhaps, by our ability to manifest the arcane entity carbuncle, and the manner of magic which this ethereal ally employs at our command. The core of the discipline, however, is found in the pursuit of definitive solutions to any potential quandary. Even on the field of battle, nay, especially on the field of battle, this principle takes precedence. If one wishes to make certain the question of victory, then one must apply the most effective strategy. An arcanist is measured by his ability to calmly analyze a situation from moment to moment, and respond with the most appropriate spells at hand. The study of arcanima will test your mental faculties to the point of perplexity. Are you prepared to reason your way through predicament after predicament? An unambiguous response, the kind I most prefer. Let us now see if the clarity of your words is matched by the sharpness of your mind. Here, take this grimoire in hand, and we shall next judge your aptitude for our discipline. It is a hefty tome, is it not? I promise you, a grimoire's weight becomes a comforting anchor amidst the shifting seas of battle, a fact you will soon discover. In Lower Lonacy, you will find, among others, 3 species of pest, wharf rats, little ladybugs, and oralii. I ask that you employ your fledgling skill in arcanima to eradicate 3 of each type of creature. Leave the city through the Tempest Gate, and you will soon encounter the potential targets in abundance. As long as you remain focused, I do not foresee these opponents causing you or your budding abilities undue difficulty. Once you return from completing this preliminary trial, I will welcome you as an official member of the Arcanists Guild. May your judgment remain swift and clear. I see the creatures beyond the city walls posed you little threat. It is with great pleasure, then, that I formally recognize your initiation into the guild. From this day forth, you may proudly bear the title of Arcanist. I suggest you continue your forays into the wilderness, and keep the pages of your grimoire turning. There is no finer teacher than the harsh mistress of experience. And when you feel you can command carbuncle as easily as you might move your own limbs, return to me for further instruction. I will be waiting.
The next Arcanist quest will be available from Thubyrgeim upon reaching level 5.
Ah, Cater, isn't it? Are you eating well? An empty stomach distracts the mind and leads to hurried judgment. I must oft remind my arcanists to take meals, so ensconced do they become in their studies. Speaking of such, have you been practicing your tactics with carbuncle? I believe it is time to assess the improvement of your skills. As with your previous trial, I would have you defeat foes in Lower Lonacy, 3 wild dodos and 3 tiny mandragoras, to be precise. Watch carefully the behavior of your opponents, formulate an effective strategy, and utilize your arcane entity to its fullest potential. I expect you back in time for dinner. Welcome back, Cater. It appears your coordination with carbuncle is progressing at a satisfactory pace. Shall we test your growing acumen with a more practical examination? Our work at Milvan's Gate requires us to inspect and record the contents of incoming cargo. To simulate such a task, I have had several crates transported to the cliff south of the Zephyr Gate. I want you to examine those crates, then return the inspected cargo here to me. You would be surprised at the depths to which some merchants will sink to deter our customs agents from performing thorough investigations. False bottoms, rotting foodstuffs, flesh-eating Vilcan. I suggest you be prepared for any eventuality. I am not a threat. Pray ignore my presence for the present and allow me a moment to cogitate. The reaction to my sudden appearance was within expected parameters. But I must admit I did not expect so proficient a performance against the enemies set against you. Yet, effective though your tactics were, I spied much room for improvement. As I watched you battle, the wheels of my mind whirled into motion, as they are wont to do, inventing other possible strategies you might have employed. Let's see. Taking into account your current level of ability, factoring in the etheric constant, multiplying by the number of opponents, then applying your tactics to other potential combat scenarios. Oh, dear. My calculations indicate failure upon encountering threat level 9785. Well, we'll have to see what we can do about that. Though the opportune window to do so has passed, I would nevertheless introduce myself. I am Kalia, a Milvan's Gate Assessor. Acting Guildmaster Thubyrgeim elected me to oversee your training, and provide any necessary guidance and instruction in the field of arcanima. From what I have observed thus far, you have an admirable grasp of the fundamentals. I do, however, wish to confirm one small detail. Regarding your choice of arcane geometries, what factor most influences your actions during battle? Aha! Just as I predicted. And now I have the final element needed to perform another calculation. The probability of you becoming an Arcanist of note is 90%. Give or take 0.5%. Yes, the certainty is quite high. After all, I only know of one other practitioner who responded to my question in the same manner. It was the man who bestowed upon me this grimoire, the guildmaster himself. While our inscrutable leader is, as I'm sure you've heard, on an indefinite leave of absence, he did leave us with his most notorious saying to date. Strategy is a tool used to manipulate one's situation into the desired reality. No matter how gifted you and I might be, however, the instantaneous manipulation of reality that might cause us to suddenly become mighty arcanists is beyond our present abilities. Discipline and experience is the finest strategy in this case. I suggest you continue to focus on refining your aptitude with carbuncle. Mastery with an arcane entity will greatly improve your success as a wielder of arcanima. Here ends your lesson for today. Pray return directly to the guild. I believe Mistress Thubyrgeim is awaiting some inspected cargo. And what of myself? I'm off to the fields, of course. The tactics I reasoned out earlier must be attempted in real-life scenarios. Theory is all well and good, but there is no substitute for actual combat. We will meet again soon. Ah, Cater. Have you returned with the cargo? Yes, everything seems to be in order, relatively clear of blood and other gore. That can be something of a problem in our profession, you understand. I also had word from Kalia regarding your performance. She seemed eager to continue your training. An odd lass, I'll admit, but the guild can boast no finer mind for tactics. You would do well to heed the instruction she offers, particularly that which touches on the diligent approach to our art. Did you perhaps notice the battered tome Kalia carries? That initiate's grimoire has served her from the day she entered the guild. She has her reasons, but it's admittedly strange to see it kept all the way to her present position as foreseer. I fear such an intense focus on arcanima has led her to overlook other important aspects of life. As our master strategist guides your arcanist training, I hope that you might return the favor and help to broaden her own perspective, somewhat. But enough of such matters for the moment. You have done well this day, Cater. Continue your practice with carbuncle, as Kalia has bid. I will be here when the time comes for your next lesson. Yes, Cater, the time for your next lesson is upon us. You are keeping well, I trust? Taking the occasional brisk walk? One cannot form sound thoughts if one fails to maintain a sound body. Now, assuming you have been following Kalia's instructions, you should be ready to face the more dangerous threats found in Western Lominsa. I speak of roselings and wild jackals. And yes, I would have you vanquish 3 of each. 'Tis the perfect sample size, the first acts as a preliminary test case, the second to test your hypotheses, the third to perfect the tactics you've devised. Speaking of which, I trust your strategy will consist of more than simply flinging ruin over and over again. You are not the novice you once were, and your skills in the field ought reflect that. If you find yourself wanting for other approaches, consider an assault with ruin in tandem with attacks from your carbuncle. When timed appropriately, you can deal a crippling blow to your opponent. Welcome back, Cater. How did it feel to conquer such ferocious foes? Let us ride that wave of triumph onto an even more demanding, and dangerous, challenge. Your next training exercise will have you accompanying Foreseer Kalia on one of her inspections. This experience will afford you the opportunity to witness firsthand the practical application of arcanima. Pray do not tarry, Cater, Kalia awaits you on the floor below with further details. A timely appearance, as I expected. Shall we proceed directly to the job at hand? I have been tasked with examining the wares of a goblin peddler caravan run by the Boylestocks family. Our agents suspect these beastmen merchants of dealing in forbidden goods. As such, I have calculated that announcing an inspection has a 60% chance of inviting physical violence. I have prepared a strategy to respond to this possible shift into hostilities, but there is an important precondition you should be made aware of before we discuss the finer points of my plan. Though I am considered gifted in the formation of tactics, I lack the reflexes and coordination necessary to employ many of those self-same strategies on the field of battle. Pray keep this factor in mind, and adjust your perceptions accordingly. Now, should the goblins offer battle, you are to execute combat pattern 1345, otherwise known as stratagem focus fire. You and your carbuncle will concentrate your attacks on a single foe, and, one by one, the enemy will wither under the combined onslaught. Probability of victory, 95%. Reports place the peddlers in the vicinity of the cookpot, in Middle Lominsa. I will depart immediately to assess the situation. Seek me out once you arrive. I am Foreseer Kalia of Milvan's Gate. You are to cease all transactions and surrender your goods for inspection.
Nasty sneaky peekers. Gobies spit uplander nosy eyes on stabby iron.
A predictably aggressive response. Very well, Cater. Remember what we discussed. Cater. Now, execute stratagem focus fire. Strike now with all your might. Do not forget the precondition, adjust your tactics accordingly. Cater, switch to combat pattern 2538, evasive maneuvers. An excellent decision. Your combat style gives me an idea. I must formulate a new tactic. The battlefield is yours. Nicely done. Adaptation, improvisation. I might have been observing our beloved guildmaster himself in action. This was the perfect example of how the strategy for a given task should be tailored to the abilities of the assessor. In other words, before you begin formulating your tactics, it is necessary to fully understand your own strengths and weaknesses. On that note, there is another question I would ask you. When it comes to improving the probable success of a strategy, do you consider it more effective to concentrate on playing to your strengths, or shoring up your weaknesses? Oh ho, again you respond as the guildmaster once did. I must revise the probability for your potential to attain greatness to 97%. You are one to keep an eye on, that much is certain. But to return to the subject of battle plans, your calculations must include an accurate assessment of your available techniques and their relative effectiveness. This requires you to be critically aware of your own limits, the limits of your allies, and the characteristics of your enemies. I believe that covers everything for today. Please return to the guild and make your report to Mistress Thubyrgeim. Until next we meet. I shall abide here until the Yellow Jackets arrive to take the peddlers into custody. My strategies will keep me company. Back from the field, Cater. Kalia contacted me with a summary of events. It seems you were treated to a lecture on knowing thyself. That particular lesson is ordinarily taught only to intermediate practitioners. Without a sufficient store of combat experience from which to draw, it is difficult to fully appreciate the profundity of such a seemingly simple truth. Nevertheless, I feel confident that you will soon be ready for a more ambitious assignment. Keep to your studies, and maintain the razor edge of your mind. You seem tired, Cater. Are you sleeping properly? One's reasoning can suffer without sufficient rest and recuperation. Should you deem yourself fit for duty, pray make your way down to the practice floor. Foreseer Kalia has requested you accompany her on another official inspection. There is, however, a requirement for your participation. The Foreseer will explain the situation. I was beginning to think I'd miscalculated, Cater. Thank you for coming. I will soon be boarding a trading vessel suspected of smuggling. All merchant ships that make use of Limsa Lominsa's ports are subject to inspection by Milvan's Gate assessors. It is a routine I perform daily. In the case of smugglers, however, there is a 75% probability of encountering resistance. Thus, I would appreciate your company during this assignment. It is now that we must discuss the requirement of which you were informed. Though I have full confidence in your martial expertise, it is imperative that you first acquire the ability to summon Topaz Carbuncle. Such knowledge will be released to you contingent on your acceptance of this duty. Very good. The arcane entity given form by the Topaz geometry will further expand your offensive capabilities. With such an ally at your command, even the harshest of enemies will falter before you. Indeed, we could not conduct these dangerous spot inspections without its support. Please return to Mistress Thubyrgeim and inform her of your participation. I will join you once I have completed some final adjustments to my tactical formulae. You have agreed to accompany the Foreseer? Then I shall gladly instruct you in the use of topaz carbuncle. Pray do not hesitate to employ this entity in combat should the inspection turn sour. The mercenaries XIV and Aristota are here to assist with the inspection. Both are old hands when it comes to escorting Kalia during her more dangerous duties.
Well met, Cater. My spells are at your disposal.
This won't be the first time we're expecting trouble, but as long as we follow the Foreseer's tactics, and keep a clear head, we'll come through just fine. The Morning Star is preparing to dock in Aleport. We will meet our first challenge, however, before we even board the vessel. It is almost a certainty that the merchant ship has hired a thug or two to accost us at the pier. I calculate the probability at 98%. The crew wish to avoid attacking us on deck, you see, as that would all but trumpet their criminal intentions to the world at large. Now, once we do manage to clear the rails, we will face a deck crowded with armed sailors. For a small party such as ours, the most effective strategy will be to incapacitate individual foes as swiftly as possible. Each opponent we down is one less weapon raised against us. It is imperative that we do not allow ourselves to become tangled in multiple, drawn-out skirmishes lest we be overwhelmed. I call this stratagem hammerfall. Strategy is a tool used to manipulate one's situation into the desired reality. Keep those words in mind, Cater. It is time we departed. Let us regroup before the main gates of Aleport. We're counting on you to cut us a path to the landing boat.
The Foreseer will be safe with us.
Let us be about our task. Cater, pray inform the steersman at the pier that we are ready to conduct our inspection. Should violence be offered, you are to execute stratagem hammerfall. Do not forget, your tactics are both your shield and your weapon.
You're with the folks from Mielvan's Gate? Hells, I knew there'd be trouble. Well, then. I'm certainly glad to see you can handle yourself. You'll find the landing boat just down here at the end of this ramp. I'll have no part of what comes next, though.
Deftly handled, Cater. Once again, I am reminded of our guildmaster. Thanks to your efficient response, we will be able to commence this inspection earlier than I had calculated. We shall board the merchant vessel out in the bay. Erstota, if you would take the rudder? The morning star awaits. Since their welcoming party at the pier failed to deter us, I expect, with a probability of 85%, that our arrival will incite further belligerence. Our objective, however, is not to trade blows, but to gain access to the hold. It may behoove us to employ stratagem hard head. The aim of our opponents is to buy time so that suspect goods may be tossed into the ocean. I do not intend to give them that time. We will bowl our way towards the cargo hold as quickly as we can. It is a tactic fraught with risk, but one that your presence makes possible. Shall we begin? I am Foreseer Kalia. By the authority of Milvan's Gate, I request that you surrender your goods for assessment.
Well, now, your Timon couldn't be worse, lass. The old door's all rusted up, yesy. Bloody thing won't open. Yell Ave to come back another day after we's fixed the ingas.
I will see that cargo now. Any vessel entering a port of Limsa Lominsa is bound by law to submit to a routine inspection.
The law, is it? Lads, I reckon it's time our guests had themselves a little accident. Pitch 'em over the side.
Commence stratagem hard head. Cater, it's Topaz Carbuncle's time to shine. Our healer must be protected first and foremost. A masterful display, Cater. Now we can finally gain access to their cargo. Oof. What ave we air, then? It's one o' the bitch admiral's lapdogs, scamperin' about me ship. You're just like your mistress, always stickin' your nose in where it ain't invited. And no. It can't be. Ha. Recognized me pretty face, did ya? But, you were caught. Exiled. Foreseer. Are you hurt? Can you stand? Stay back. You stay away from me. Foreseer, please, calm down. What are your orders? I've had enough o' your whimperin'. And I've certainly had enough o' these bloody books. It's clear ya ain't learnin' anythin' from 'em. Reckon it's time ya got a different kind o' lesson.
Kalia. Nafika preserve us, she's fainted. We must withdraw.
Cater, quickly. Back to the boat. We'll carry the Foreseer. Aye, that's right. Yes, link on back to your mistress, ya worthless curs. Gah ha 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 ha. We'll take care of Kalia. You'd best return to the Arcanists Guild and report to Mistress Thubyrgeim. It is good to see you well, Cater. Geisfriend sent word ahead of your travails. An unfortunate turn of events, but considering the infamous black heart you faced, you might have fared much worse. Have you heard of the pirate Dusmega? He was exiled from Limsa Lominsa some years ago, but it appears he has chosen to defy the Admiral's orders. And once more he dares lay a hand on Foreseer Kalia. The poor lass must have been terrified. If I had known Dusmega was aboard that ship, I never would have assigned her that duty. The assessor may require some time to recover, for Kalia, that man is a nightmare made flesh. Though her physical wounds will soon mend, there is little we can do to salve the hurt to her mind. You are concerned? Angry, mayhap? Harness that energy, and channel it into your training. I predict we shall be needing your skills again before long. Greetings, Cater. In case such doubts fill your mind, you should know that I am ever willing to lend an ear if you find your thoughts troubled. At the very least, I would have you know this, because it seems that Kalia does not. The Foreseer has been missing since this morning. There have been other times when she has disappeared without a word, but we have always been able to find her. Alas, that is not the case this day. Were the guildmaster here, he could deduce her whereabouts with nary a moment's concentration. I find myself beginning to wonder if those who devote themselves overmuch to arcanima are more prone to bouts of wanderlust. But while I might wish to ponder further such oddities of character, we must needs organize a search party. Would you be so kind as to make inquiries in Hawker's Alley? It is not uncommon for Kalia's wanderings to take a path through the markets.
You seek a Miko Te agent of Milvan's Gate? Why, yes, I have seen her. Spoke with her, in fact. She was, however, apprehended by the Yellow Jackets. The assessor was drilling me for details about a Kakirn smuggling ring based in Aleport, but then the soldiers arrived and took her away. If you wish to know her fate, then I suggest you speak with Janaid of the Coral Tower.
Foreseer Kalia? Yes, we brought her in for questioning regarding the reappearance of the pirate Dusmega. A member of the Arcanists Guild, are you? Then I see no reason to conceal the nature of our discourse. Perhaps you are already aware of this, but the Foreseer was once held captive by that rabid sea dog. Few pirates sink to such depths of depravity as Dusmega. It has been 6 years now since he was exiled from Limsa Lominsa for engaging in the worst kind of black market trading. And now the villain has returned. He is, however, both cunning and cautious, and continues to evade our troops. Thus, we hoped to borrow the knowledge of Foreseer Kalia, whose experiences have given her an intimate familiarity with the way the scoundrel operates. At least, that was our intent. After weathering a barrage of questions from the assessor, we found ourselves, instead, providing the details of our search. Should you wish to speak with Foreseer Kalia, I imagine she has already returned safely to your guild. Back already? You were led to believe she had returned here? I am afraid not. So, the Yellow Jackets told you something of her history with Dusmega, did they? Perhaps it would be best if I told you the entire tale. Dusmega's banishment was the result of a surprise inspection that revealed his involvement in an underground slave trade. The assessor that stepped aboard the pirate's merchant ship spoke of finding dozens of unwashed unfortunates crammed into that squalid hold. Among these prisoners was a young Miko Te, destined for some black market auction block. Though Kalia was initially too terrified to even speak, the guildmaster brought her out of her fearful daze with the gift of an initiate's grimoire. Yes, the self-same tome that she has carried her entire career. Of course. Did you not mention that Kalia's grimoire was thrown into the sea? There are rumors that a Kakirn merchant of ill repute has retrieved the black market goods the crew of the Morning Star heaved into the ocean. Even now, he gloats over his salt-encrusted catch in Aleport. It is entirely possible that the Foreseer's most prized possession was caught up in the Kakirn's salvage net. I've no doubt now that Kalia has reached the same conclusion. To Aleport with you, Cater. That is where you will find our wayward assessor. Yes. Combat Pattern 256 should serve to cover all expected contingencies. You never know when you'll have to nullify a thaumaturge or two. My retrieval strategy is complete. Cater, it is good of you to come. I was unable to calculate for certain if you would piece together my movements in time. Very little is certain when so many variables are involved. But there is good news. This prisoner here was kind enough to confirm that the trader who salvaged the Morning Star's jettisoned cargo did indeed retrieve a tome matching the description of my lost grimoire. Lominsan law and the policies of Milvan's Gate would support the confiscation of goods connected to an official inspection, but alas, my personal belongings do not fall under that definition. Thus, I intend to launch an unofficial offensive against this black marketeer and his cronies. The peddler has already departed for Candlekeep Key. It is time I gathered to me such allies as I possess, and I count you as one of them, Cater. Despite the nature of this endeavor, Mistress Thubyrgeim has offered me her cooperation. If you would, pray join her at Oscon's Embrace, that is where we shall ambush this disreputable Kikirn. Before the calamity gouged out a ravine here, this used to be one long, unbroken peninsula. Course, seeing as the Morabi drydocks are on the side opposite the city, construction on the bridge went forward soon as ye could blink. It ain't quite done yet, but the embrace is sturdy enough for fully laden wagons to trundle across. Greetings, Cater. Your arrival completes our small company. You are equipped for battle, I trust? We need not await Kalia's arrival. Once the Kikirn appears on the bridge, we spring our ambush. The strategy for trapping our target relies on the two allies we have concealed on the other side of the ravine. This pincer maneuver was, naturally, the Foreseer's idea. As for the target himself, the Kikirn is known as a careful and cautious fellow. He travels with a small retinue so as to avoid attracting attention, but do not be fooled, more bodyguards follow at a distance, and will likely join the fray after hostilities ensue. Do not, however, expect any assistance from the Yellow Jackets. They cannot be seen aiding us in what amounts to a personal matter, but they are willing to turn a blind eye for Kalia's sake. In any case, the Foreseer's tactics account for our limited numbers and individual strengths. Victory is all but assured. Now, let us take up our positions and wait for the Kikirn to arrive.
Filthy ambushers. They want Kikirun's sparklies, ambush them back.
Your foul trait is a blight on Limsa Lominsa. Surrender your goods at once. Geist friend. Aristotle. Now.
Kikirun no scared. Kikirun have scary spell slingers.
Conjurers. Just as Kalia predicted. We shift to combat pattern 158. Cater, focus on the conjurers and blunt their heels.
No. Be late for business, this business be bad for you.
Cater, I spy a thaumaturge. Quickly, switch to combat pattern 256. Even a lone mage can wreak untold havoc. Focus your attacks on the thaumaturge first. That appears to be the last of them. Now, to find the Foreseer's grimoire. Well executed, everyone. Were you able to retrieve my grimoire? Cater, pray hand over the tome. It's ruined. My wonderful grimoire is ruined. The probability of repairing this degree of damage is 0%. Even the most brilliant strategy cannot undo such ravages of seawater. I have never felt so defeated. I believe it is time I returned home.
Leave her be.
But, how can I? He is right, Aristotle. You must allow Kalia time to process the loss. And you have other matters to which you must attend. Come, Cater, it is time we returned to the guild, as well.
We'll clean up here. No one will even suspect a fight took place.
Please, take care of Foreseer Kalia. Not quite the victory we imagined, was it? The moment Kalia beheld her soaked and tattered grimoire, you could see the light of hope die in her eyes. There is, however, something we can do. I will call on your aid soon, but in the meantime, you would be well served to deepen your knowledge of arcanima. Have you come to ask about Kalia's condition? The Foreseer is unchanged. She walks about as if all the joy in life has been leached from her soul. I believe the only one who can help her now is the same person who broke Kalia out of her shell the first time, our absent guildmaster. And, though I am leery of the coincidence, the man himself has at long last been spotted. Should you seek out his last known location, it is unlikely he will still be there. And even should you catch him, he may not deign to speak with you. Nevertheless, this may be our only chance. Pray travel to Mimerun's trading post in Upper Lominsa, and speak with anyone who might have seen the guildmaster. Oh, and one more thing, though he prefers us not to use it for some inexplicable reason, our leader's name is Tia.
Morning, sir. I was the one as sent word to your guild about spotting your leader. It's a right rare sight to see Tia roaming about. He asked me the way to Thalaus. Could be he was seeking to speak with the scholar who lives out there. Hello there. Why, yes, I did receive a visit from a gentleman identifying himself as the Arcanists Guild master. An odd fellow, but obviously possessed of a well-rounded education. As it so happens, he bid me pass on a message to anyone who came searching for him. Ahem. Reunited, the 3 slips of parchment hold the problem to the solution. The guildmaster mentioned that the slips of parchment are concealed among the bones of Thalaus. I suppose you are expected to search for them. Have you tracked down those 3 slips of parchment? Interesting. They actually exist. To be perfectly honest, I thought you had been sent on a wild dodo chase. Let's have a look at these, shall we? Well, penned in ancient Alagan, no less. Fortunately for you, I have a passing familiarity with the script.
Seek the box at Fool Falls. Dance a jig for your wooden audience. Claim the secret from the opened heart.
most cryptic set of instructions, I must say. Do you intend to follow them? This guildmaster of yours certainly enjoys his games. The lid of the box is jammed shut. The box rattles and thumps about, as if something within seeks to be freed. It appears the lid has been loosened somewhat. You find a slip of parchment inside the box.
If there are answers you would seek, then to the trading post now go before the owner, be not meek with your 2 feet, provide a show.
Funny Miko te dance funny dance. You dance funny dance too? Ah, now that was most entertaining. I must have something to amuse me during these little jaunts back to civilization, you understand. Based on my evaluation of your abilities, however, I calculated that you would arrive at this point somewhat earlier. You balked at the dancing, didn't you? I never expected you to be so shy. Heh, another variable to add to your list of characteristics. I keep extensive mental notes of all the guild's members, you see. As an Arcanist, it was a simple matter to engineer events so that I might meet you face to face. After all, strategy is a tool used to manipulate one's situation into the desired reality. And I do so enjoy seeing others dance in the palm of my hand, as it were. Here, you may have this. Think of it as payment for your performance. Though you might consider passing the tome on to Kalia. That is the reason you sought me out, was it not? Before you give Kalia the grimoire, however, I must insist that you dance for her. I will know if you don't. All this banal interaction has simply exhausted me. It is time I returned to my studies. You, on the other hand, should travel forthwith to the anchor yard in Limsa Lominsa. Be well, Cater. We shall meet again. I'm 100% certain of it.
My mind is ordinarily a whirlwind of probabilities and feints and counterattacks, but now there is naught but silence. This is how it once used to be, and perhaps how it always will be from now on. Were you always one for dancing? I don't recall any such pref. Ah. You have met with our guildmaster, haven't you? That would explain your odd behavior. He does so enjoy seeing people perform unexpected acts of frivolity. But what could have spurred our reticent guildmaster to speak with you in person? He gave you this grimoire to give to me? Uncanny. It is identical to the tome I received the first time I ever met our leader. You have my thanks, Cater. The guildmaster is fond of games and mischief, and I understand the troublesome trials he likely put you through before deeming you worthy of his attention. With this gift, however, his message to me is abundantly clear: I am to shape reality into the one I desire. And that means defeating Dusmega. Gods, my mind is alive again with strategies. I must have time to think. Pray inform Mistress Thubyrgeim of my return to duty. Kalia has recovered from her despondency. This is wonderful news, and we have you to thank for it. It is unfortunate, however, that both Kalia and our guildmaster are possessed of such impenetrable personalities. But at least in the case of the Foreseer, we have an inkling as to the nature of the cage that imprisons her. I continue to hope that her partnership with you shall gradually pry those bars apart. Return to your training, Cater, and prepare yourself for the demanding tactics Kalia is sure to formulate in the days ahead. I've been expecting you, Cater. As ever, Kalia's predictions prove accurate almost down to the moment. And her mind is especially sharp with such a dangerous confrontation in the offing. The Yellow Jackets have contacted us with word of Dusmega. It appears his merchant vessel is presently anchored off the coast of Bloodshore. Once the pirate's business there is concluded, rumor has it that he intends to embark on an extended voyage to the east. It will be some time before he returns once more to Limsa Lominsa. If we pass up this opportunity, Kalia will lose her chance to settle the score with Dusmega, and we risk the Foreseer stumbling once more into blackest melancholy. Simply getting close enough to Dusmega will prove difficult. Kalia has, however, already formulated a solution, and has set her grand strategy into motion. Your first task in this undertaking is to travel to Costa del Sol and deliver this set of directions to a fisherman by the name of Rolzern. More instructions will be forthcoming.
What is it ye want, lad? As ye can see, I've me hands full with me fishin'. Ah, thanks for that. I been told to expect yet. Here, you're to take one o' me herrings and deliver it to the cook, Apollona.
Yes, and how might I help you? Master Gaijiraju is expecting his supper any moment now. A fresh herring? Why, the master does enjoy a bite of broiled fish of an evening. This might even earn me a few extra coins for this week's wages. Well, you have earned yourself one of my homemade eel pies. I should tell you, though, your Arcanist colleague was quite insistent that you take the pie to Master Gaijiraju, rather than scoff it down yourself.
And what brings you to my, and I use the term facetiously, humble abode, dear sir? Such a heavenly aroma. Are you, perchance, carrying an eel pie about your person? How commendable that you should research the delicacies that tickle my fancy before daring to intrude upon my most ponderous of ponderings. Speaking of ponderous, well, I was speaking of it, at least, I have a hefty purse of gil to persuade you to relinquish your claim on that pastry.
One moment, if you will. I have been instructed by a Gate assessor to hand over this message to whoever delivers an eel pie to Master Gay Jiraju.
Take the purse you received from Master Gay Jiraju, and hand it to the dancer Aljith as she prepares to return home. Kalidia.
Yes? If you're looking for a dancer, then I would first see your coin. I've 3 children to feed, and no time to waste on idle chat. Oh my, that is quite a purse. My precious darlings will eat like kings this week. And such a simple job, as well. I was told to expect you, you see. In return for the coin, I am to give you these. The leather satchel is from your Miko-te friend, and the perio is from me. That last item you are to deliver to Drogo, the warehouse foreman.
I ain't got time for the likes o' you, if I don't get me work squared away soon, the master'll obey me ead on a pike. Ya got summit for me, yes eh? EY, now, ain't this all Jithas perio? That Miko-te lass said someone be bringin' me a gift what I couldn't refuse, and stick me with a pitchfork if she weren't tellin' the God's own truth. You're esposed to obey this bottle o' wine. Take it to the Flyin' Shark and pour a cup for the sailors what are drinkin' there. That's what she told me to tell ya, Anirode. I'd watch me back if I was you, though, son, them sailors re the meanest bunch o' cutthroats I ever did see. Ya want me to taste your wine, eh? Well, now, I ain't one to pass up free grog. Limlane's teats. Now that's a bloody fine drop. If we ship this stuff to the east, we'll be sellin' bottles by the crate. You're comin' with us back to the Morning Star. The captain'll want to obey a word with yet. There's a good lad. And as for ye, Miss Dancer, ye stick close to ol' Herskskrat, it gets damn cold on them long sea voyages, heh heh heh.
SHHH. We'll talk later. Hush now, Cater. Make ready. And I'll need that satchel you received from Altjith in a short while.
You ready, then? We'll be off as soon as the boat's loaded. Ah, fine grog and a fine woman. The captain'll be pleased with this haul.
Pray do not stare so. This was the most expedient method of gaining access to the ship. I will take that satchel from you now. You may have it back after I take the items I need.
EY, what mischief are you two about?
I was merely borrowing some clothes. You wouldn't wish me to catch a chill from this brisk ocean air, would you?
Y'all be dancing yourself warm once we get ya on the ship, lass. Ya better slip off that ratty row before ya meet the captain.
Of course, of course. I'll be happy to show him the performance that awaits.
The bitch admiral's lapdog. Come back for that lesson, Abe yet?
It is I who shall be teaching this day. My lecture will focus on the manipulation of reality through applied strategy.
Enough o' this damn yappin'. By the time I'm done with yap, y'all remember who your real master is.
Cater, this geometry will turn the tide of the battle.
Fight, yeah worthless sea slugs, I oughta keel haul the lot oh yeah. Ya rabid little cur.
Our numbers matter not, it is strategy that will win this battle. Prepare yourself, does Mega. With your defeat will I cast off the shackles you closed on my soul.
Ya think so, Think your fancy magic's a match for my blade? Ya be got another thing comin'.
Your brutalized crew is not up to the task, does Mega. I calculate our odds of victory at 99%.
So ya can handle a few deck scrags. Me Axel carve your petty plans into bloody ruin.
Does Mega now faces defeat. He will flee to the starboard rail. Obvious. Next comes his attempt to escape into the sea.
Ya think you're pulling me strings, do ya? Think I'll dance to your tune? Well, I ain't fallen for your bloody tricks.
It is at this moment he notices the yellow jackets I had you summon in my explicit instructions to Rolzern.
You were a fool to return, does Mega. I hear you're fond of shackles, so we brought a set especially for you.
Thus concludes today's lecture. Thank you, Cater. This strategy would not have succeeded without your flawless execution, which suggests that my tactics yet require more work. One must allow for some small deviation in performance. I believe, however, that I now understand where my calculations went awry. It is not enough to wish to shape reality, one must also have a complete understanding of the reality one wishes to obtain. It is time I sought out our guildmaster. Pray convey to Mistress Thubyrgeim my fondest wishes, and my appreciation for all that she has done for me. The true test of my strategies now begins. Welcome back, Cater. There is much I would ask you, but first, may I have the satchel you received during your assignment? May I have the leather satchel you received during your assignment? The original owner needs her costume back, you see. I'll make sure everything is returned safe and sound. Now, let us speak of Kalia. I am glad to know that she has finally freed herself to pursue her heart's desire. And you are to thank for awakening the Foreseer to her self-imposed fetters. The brilliance of Kalia's strategies served to blind her to her own feelings, and it pained me to see her suffer so. Your example may even encourage Kalia to improve her combat abilities, although such will surely come in time. After all, she intends to study under the guildmaster's direct instruction. Imagine those two obsessive arcanists, and the complexity of the tactics they will develop. It may very well be that your actions in bringing them together will prove the catalyst that sparks a new era of invention in the art of arcanima. You, too, should look to the improvement of your discipline if you are to keep pace with all that is certain to follow. To that end, I offer you a new technique, one I pray allows you to more readily drive back your foes on the battlefield.